Let's just get it over with. Hello and welcome to LSU Focus. It is post-match reaction showtime after Liverpool were just shite against Newcastle United. I don't think there's really any other word that any of us could come up with that better describes the performance that we just put in and the game that we all just watched. Liverpool simply were not at it at St James's Park today, and I am actually a bit hesitant to say, but I think it's almost correct to say this. I think we were actually a little bit better than we were against West Brom, simply because we stayed in the game the whole way through, whereas against West Brom we completely lost our way, and that was almost more frustrating. We started well, we had reasonable levels of control over the game, and we lost that, whereas today we just never quite found our way. And to be fair, we got better as the game went on. I think the first half an hour was utterly diabolical. We offered nothing whatsoever and did not even deserve to be level. Even though Newcastle didn't threaten that much, they were at least threatening and getting into the box in a way that looked like it might end up in a goal. Whereas when Liverpool went forward, they just looked like they were going through the motions. It looked like they were playing keep ball for a lot of the time. It looked like the priority was more just to hold on to possession for as long as possible than to even risk giving the ball away, trying to create any sort of attack. And that's one thing that really frustrated me all the way through the game, and it's something that I never like seeing from Liverpool or any team that I'm watching and I want them to win the football match, is when you become so obsessed with the fact that your possession is, you're dominating possession, you're keeping the ball, you're passing it round, and you're not losing it, you're not giving it away cheaply or anything like that, that you stop taking risks, you stop going for that forward pass, trying to pick out that man making a dangerous run, or driving forward with the ball as well. You know, something that basically none of the lads tried today was just getting it somewhere near, at least close to the final third, and just running forwards with it, whether there's space there or not. If there's space, by all means get into it, but if there isn't, try and beat a man. You know, I know that Jordan Henderson is not Naby Keita, and Gini Wijnaldum is not Alex Oxlade-Chamberlain, but they're still pretty good footballers. They should have this kind of faith in their own ability, and the same goes for everyone else. We didn't see it enough from Andrew Robertson and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and to be fair, there were times when they did try it and it didn't work at all. You know, they'd knock it straight into a Newcastle defender, so maybe it is a case of the lads are just a little bit fatigued. I think that certainly did seem to be showing today. The cold probably plays a part as well. It was into the minus temperatures up in Newcastle, which, you know, you can say, oh, the players should be strong enough to deal with that kind of thing. They're paid through the nose and everything, but it is a simple fact that your body does kind of seize up in those temperatures, regardless of what you're doing. It makes it more difficult to break into sudden sprints and put the afterburners on and stuff like that. So it's maybe understandable that at times they don't look to just sprint past people and beat their man or anything like that. But there just seemed to be a complete lack of risk taking from the side. Like I said, passing from side to side because it's the easy option, because it keeps possession, when actually, in actual fact, like we did against West Brom, that's exactly what they want us to do. In the same way that we were pumping the ball into the box and West Brom were heading it away over and over again, we were playing the game that they wanted to play. We were in their comfort zone, which is the last thing that Liverpool should be doing. And the same went for today when we were passing it round between Phillips, between Fabinho, Jordan Henderson dropping deep to receive, Gini Wijnaldum doing the same, James Milner. There was just never any impetus to take a risk, get the ball forward and say, you know what, it doesn't matter if you lose it. And at times, like I said, I think we got better as the game went on, and we did do that a little bit in the later stages, certainly in the second half and the last 10 minutes, when the players suddenly realised, hang on, we might not win this game if we don't actually make a concerted effort to score a goal. But it was very much a case of too little too late. And also, one of the issues I have is while Liverpool did create big chances, you know, Mane has a good chance with a header that just goes wide. Salah has that one where he makes a great touch as well. You know, it's a fantastic set to get himself into that position. And to be fair to Carl Darlow, brilliant save. I think it was entirely fair for Ali McCoy on Amazon Prime to give him man of the match. I think he deserved that award, because when he was called upon to make big saves to preserve a point for Newcastle, he did brilliantly. He makes that great save from Mo Salah. He makes a good one from Roberto Firmino, that header late on in the first half. That, you know, to be fair, I think Firmino, it's not the best header in the world. If he puts it in one of the corners, either way, then it probably ends up in the back of the net. But I mean, you could say the same for Salah's chance. If he lifts it or tries to go right round the goalkeeper, then he probably scores the goal. At the end of the day, sometimes you have just got to give a bit of credit and say that one of our players did perfectly well in their attempt to score, and the goalkeeper just did his job in keeping the ball out of the net. But the issue I had with those chances, while they were clear cut, while they showed that we still had the quality to maybe on another day, if the goalie's not performing as well, still come away with all 3 points, is they were very sporadic. They were very spread out. There was no... The thing that Liverpool do best is when they put the opponent under unbearable pressure, under the kind of pressure that just causes them to break, regardless of how much they try, because it is just completely relentless. And they do that in short spaces of time in a very, very intense manner. And the issue was today, all of those chances that we had, when Liverpool are at their best, those chances all come in about 5 or 10 minutes. They come, before the end of the first half, when we really start to crank up the pressure. We create 2 or 3 clear-cut goal-scoring chances, and when that happens, all in a short space of time, the opponent just crumbles because, the defenders and the goalie as well start thinking, I can't keep doing this. I can't keep making last-ditch blocks, fingertip, worldy, highlights, real saves and stuff like that. They just look like they are going to force their way through regardless. When Liverpool are at their best, that's what they're doing. But when the chances are spread out like this, it doesn't work out that way. It doesn't work out into any kind of period of sustained pressure, and as a result, it becomes much more easy for Newcastle to deal with. They can cope with the odd difficult chance. They can cope with the odd moment where one of them has to fly in and make a last-ditch sliding tackle or something like that. They can't cope with when they've got to keep doing that every 30 seconds for 10 minutes. Then it becomes unbearable, and then you get the goal. But today, we just weren't quite... We never found a moment where everyone was firing on all cylinders. Like I said, the attackers have those great moments. The fullbacks, every half hour or so, will whip in an absolutely perfect killer cross that if someone gets on the end of it, then it's almost certainly a goal. One of the midfielders plays a brilliant pass that slices the defence open once or twice in the game. But all of these incidents were isolated. They were all happening at different times. Liverpool didn't look like a cohesive unit of players who were all playing on the same wavelength. They looked like 11 perfectly good footballers, all of whom are capable of pulling off match-winning moments on their own when their luck is in. But today their luck wasn't in, and what we needed was for the team to work together as a cohesive unit and force the issue as a team. And unfortunately, we just didn't. I think, like I said, I think we looked better as the game went on. In the second half, we forced the issue a little bit more. Like the last few minutes, once Thiago comes on as well, I think we really do start to purr a little bit, although nowhere near the required standard and nowhere near enough to actually win the game when you're only doing it for 20 minutes or so. But when he did come on, he played some great passes, absolutely drilled a shot. I would have loved to have seen where that one would have ended up on the volley from about 25 yards out. Unfortunately, a Newcastle body gets on the end of it in the box, but it certainly looked like it was travelling towards the net at some speed. So who knows, in a parallel universe, that goes in and we're all going absolutely berserk as Thiago the Messiah returns. But unfortunately, we only get a glimpse today of what he can do. And thankfully, that glimpse was very good, and that's why I'm not too worried going into the next game. I know 2 draws on the bounce is never good. As I said in the pre-match video for this game, I wanted to see a reaction, and by and large, Liverpool do react very, very well to setbacks, and that West Brom draw was a big setback, both in terms of the result and the performance as well. But today it did feel like a little bit more of the same. Like I said, we were better than we were against West Brom. The attitude of the players and the mentality was better in terms of how, when things weren't going well, they tried their best to turn it round. They managed to switch the dynamic of the game up a little bit and get back on top, whereas against West Brom we just lost control and never got it back. But it still isn't where we need to be, and we need to get better if we are to, keep our grip at the top of the Premier League table. Like I said, with Thiago back, things may turn around a little bit. Hopefully, he is fit enough to play a full 90 minutes against Southampton. I feel like the way we played once he got on the pitch, the passing was crisper, his positioning is fantastic, he's always in the right place at the right time, and he just finds those players. He takes those risky passes that, as I said, no one else was doing. Jordan Henderson, I love him. Same goes for Curtis Jones. I think Milner on his day is a hugely important player in this side, but all of them were playing it so safe. Same goes for Fabinho. I don't really want to criticise now Phillips, because the kid has been brought in for a very specific job, which is don't cock up, don't make any silly mistakes, don't get caught out under pressure, just keep the ball moving on and deal with high balls in the air, and don't let your man on the other team get the better of you or anything like that. And I thought he did that reasonably well today. A couple of moments where Callum Wilson gets the wrong side of him, but that happens early on, and he doesn't make the same errors again. So I've got no problems with the way Nat Phillips played today. But I think the more senior, experienced members of the squad, the lads that we normally look to turn things around, just weren't capable of turning it on today. And that does, of course, mean that while we're 3 points ahead clear at the top, Man United have a game in hand, and they are now very much title challengers for now, at least. I don't want to say it because I don't really want to ever have to consider Man U as a good team in my mind ever again. I'm perfectly happy with the situation we've had over the last 7 years where they have been utter crap, and I think long may that continue. Hopefully that will be the case. Hopefully this is just a small run of good form for them. I think if you're looking for something positive to end this video on after what was very much a negative vibe coming out of that game, the fact of the matter is Man U, the best they can do if they win their game in hand is they can be level on points with Liverpool, behind on goal difference, so we're still top of the league, and they're in a very, very good vein of form at the moment. Man U are doing about as good as I think anyone is expecting them to do, whereas Liverpool are having a very, very rough patch. Liverpool are playing badly, they're not getting the results, and yes, that means the gap is closing, but it means that while both teams numerically are in similar positions, a lot more is expected of Liverpool. You feel like Man U can't go any further, that this is as good as it's going to get, and they just have to hope that no one else gets any better than they are at the moment. But I believe with Thiago coming back and with the prospect of turning things around after 2 disappointing performances, I get the feeling that Liverpool will get back to winning ways. They will switch it on against Southampton and everything will be fine once again. But until then, it's not been the best of evenings. It was a poor performance from Liverpool. I don't think they deserve to lose by any stretch of the imagination. I think Newcastle played well, but didn't create enough chances to really threaten on the scale where they could have argued that they deserved to take 3 points from the game. Their goalie does very well as well at the other end, and you do have to give credit for them for that. You can criticise Firmino for not putting his chances away, Mo Salah for the same. But at the end of the day, you've also got to acknowledge that the goalie is there for a reason, to keep the ball out the net, and he does that very well for them. And Alisson does the same at our end. He makes a great save late on in the game to prevent it going to 1-0 to Newcastle. So, in a way, I think points shared, 0-0, is probably the fairest result possible from that game, and it's just disappointing that Liverpool did not do any more to merit a little bit of a better result than that. But I certainly don't think there's anything to worry about just yet. It is, of course, still December. There's plenty of time to go with the season, and you get the feeling that there is plenty more for this Liverpool team to give us. So that is all for today's video. Thank you guys very, very much for watching. If you did enjoy the video, then don't forget to hit that like button down there. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button there if you are new around here as well. Don't forget to check out some of the other videos that have been out on the channel over the past few days. Follow at LSU Focus TV on Twitter as well. And I'll be back soon with the pre-match content for the game against Southampton. Until then, bye for now.